Run your day with Runday.ai.
Hello, happy Monday, everyone. I'm here with Sandra. How are you today? Glad you could make it.
I know.
Tell us about some of your clients and what you're doing for them.
Oh my goodness. My clients are people who are done feeling disconnected from their bodies, from their purpose, from their joy, and they are ready to start living a life that really expresses who they are at the core.
I've seen some studies where there's like a record level of disconnection, the birth rate's the lowest ever. Why are people feeling so disconnected?
I think people are feeling so disconnected because we are essentially conditioned by our story, by our genetics, or what we've inherited, our lineage. And so we attach ourselves to a story that is no longer who we are. It's not who we are at the core. And so we are living lives that look very good on the outside, that please other people, but are not true expressions of us, of the real soul that is there, wanting to share its gifts and use its uniqueness as a way to expand in the world. And so when people disconnect from their center and identify with whether it is their job, their finances, their work, their relationships, they start living completely looking on the outside instead of their own principles and values. And I think that gets people very disconnected into suffering, quiet suffering.
If you don't mind sharing, what was your story?
Yeah, my story is similar. Honestly, my story was that people told me to follow a path, and I've been mentored.
What kind of path was that?
I was an actor and I was a yogi.
Oh, wow.
And I was kind of like having to choose one, right? I was told that unless I went into one path all in, I was not going to be successful, and it was a little frustrating.
So they told you couldn't do both.
I couldn't do both.
Who told you that?
People that I admire, because that's what conditioning says, right? Follow the mold, follow the map. And I started to realize that it's really not about choosing between your callings. It's about allowing all of you to be chosen and to create something brand new through you as you. And so much of my work is inviting people to stop choosing parts of themselves and instead create from their wholeness. Create something that's true to who they are, that might not have a path in front of it, or maybe it's something completely new. So inviting people to their own uniqueness and to their own creative potential as the creators that they are.
I know you work with a lot of entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
What does that wholeness look like for an entrepreneur when it happens, when you see it?
I can't tell you what it looks like. It looks completely different to each person, but I can tell you that it feels like vitality. It feels like living a life where you're not pushing to get by, but you're feeling propelled by your purpose. It's not about you're doing less work and you're, relaxing. Is that the work that you're doing is meaningful to you. And you wake up every day and you want to do it because it's an expression of who you are. It looks like understanding what real wealth is, that it's not a matter of acquiring more, but it's actually the word wealth comes from the root word wele, which is a ancient British word that means well-being. And so it's about coming to a state of complete well-being when the nervous system is so regulated that you can actually open to receive more of the truth that is moving through you as a part of this great life. And so when we share that, when we feel that we're connected not only to ourselves, but that we are part of this great organism of life, and we are expressing it through our own uniqueness, our own voice, and owning our own story, we can start to serve in a way that is not about obligation, but it's about delight, because you know that your work is going on to create more dignity and growth for the people around you because it's your truth. And so that's the kind of work that we get into.
Talk more about vitality. When I was studying integrated medicine and Ayurveda, one way they describe the contrast between what we'll call allopathic medicine and an Ayurvedic or integrated approach is the study of disease versus the study of vitality. So it's sort of about diagnosing what's wrong with someone versus studying the greatest among us and how do we get normal people or everyday people to that level. Talk about what vitality means to you.
Vitality is our nature. Vitality is us coming alive fully. We are vital beings. When we have and are following and are giving our attention to so many things that are actually not conducive to what makes us feel alive, meaning it's not giving us like that voltage of your joy. It's not like I'm thinking about, who is it that spoke about follow your joy, follow your bliss, follow your bliss. We're speaking about following the thing that really makes you come alive. There's a misconception that our joy comes from achieving happiness one day. And I believe that it's actually about removing all the things that are keeping you away from what you already are. Like vitality is your nature. There's so many things that you're engaging on right now that are keeping your vitality away. And so many people are chasing happiness as a way to get it. When in reality, it's like you just got to get rid of what's keeping it from you. You got to get rid of giving your attention to people, relationships, foods, things that are actually not giving you aliveness of being. One of my teachers, Thomas Yomas, speaks about it as our vital. When we come alive, you can think about the soul as pure vitality of being. And when we come alive, it's like our soul is living breadcrumbs for us to remember who we are. And that might be through art, that might be through exploring our curiosities and following that through. Like, I mean, I'm listening to your story and you have so many different avenues where your curiosity has expanded. And it seems like that doesn't make sense. Why would I ever go that way? That's not going to give you money.
I don't make a lot of sense, do I?
And so many people think that following the different expressions of me are not going to give me life, but it's actually all those different avenues that might be giving you the vitality required, the energy. Right? We're speaking about energy, the electricity. You can think about it like that. Like your vitality is electricity moving through your system that helps you be in greater levels of health. And that is financial health, that is mental health, that is emotional health, because there's flow of electricity or energy moving through you. So many of the things that keep us away from that is the blockages. And so when I'm thinking about removing those things that are keeping you from the flow of your life, it's like the relationships, the connections, the things that are not making you feel in your greatest, the things that you're doing because you think you have to do it to get validation, to feel your worth, to have love in your life. And it really is a restructuring of your own identity, not as a story of the things that have happened to you, but as the human that has the capacity to be aware, to imagine, to have consciousness, and to develop your psychological functions, like your thinking, your imagination, your desire, your sensation, your intuition, all of these centers, and to get really good at them. Most of us are running on just thinking or just feeling, and not actually maturing in all these different areas. And when you know how to maneuver these different areas of your life, you understand yourself as a creative force that has the capacity to both be aware and also direct your consciousness, direct that flow of energy. And that's the work that we get in.
We're so used to hearing this PR curated version of how somebody became successful or how a company became successful. When you actually meet these entrepreneurs and hear the real story of the early days of the business, it's so shocking, how crazy it was and how dynamic it was and how there was no plan. I mean, look at a game like Angry Birds, and they were one of the first successful apps. They created 53 games before that worked out. You look at, Uber, it was like a system at first. You look at all these different companies, and they were, Slack, for example, is very successful now. They were a video game, and they needed a way to manage the project for their video game, and then they created Slack, and that became this giant company now that's the operating system for business. So many things just didn't start the way, there was no plan. It was more of a process. It was more of a way of just being committed. And I think that's one thing that's missing in the world today. People don't understand that the joke is in investments where if you're raising venture capital, the average investment from start to finish takes about 11 years these days. The average marriage is 7 years. So the joke is you're going to be with your investors longer than you'll be married. But it's people aren't ready for that kind of decade plus commitment. Yeah. And you look at every overnight success and if you really know the history, it's often much, much longer of what it took, the twists and turns to make something big happen. What are some sort of elements of success you've seen that are, authentic versus the way they're portrayed in media?
The first thing is that most people are living success and following success metrics that someone else created. Your father created it, your conditioning created it, the school that you went to, your church, whatever it is, instead of defining what success is to them, right? We haven't taken the time to actually realize that success looks completely different to each person. It's not just acquiring. Personally, for me, success is about loving to do and having the capacity and the energy and the resources to do what I want to be doing and to be in connection and to be serving every day. But to each person is different. And I think that is what is required, is for there to be a path that I can stay committed for long term because I decided that path. And so I think that's really what I see, that when a person decides their path because they understand that all these seeming different contradictions in their life actually make a whole of who they are and they create something brand new to them, then it's no longer a thing that they're pushing to try to make happen, but it's a thing that they feel called to keep doing. They feel they have that meaning because they know the pain. It's usually related to their own personal story or their own needs and wants that they wanted to fulfill. And so then they have this understanding of the possibility and the ache of that. And when you create from your truth, you can stay committed because that's your message. You stop being the messenger of what you're trying to get out in the world and you start embodying what is true to you.
So you have an event coming up where people can go deeper into this conversation.
Yes,
Tell us about that.
Yeah, I have a very cool experience called True Human Experience, and we essentially are exploring consciousness through play and connection and movement because I believe that what life wants to do is to move and to connect.
And where is it going to be?
It's going to be at a private location in North Miami. The theme for this month is Holy Misbehavior. And we are exploring the theme of being sovereign, of knowing that we are being loyal to all these conditions that we never chose. And sometimes it feels like we're doing something bad because we're breaking that pattern. And what's needed in this world today is people to break the pattern, burn the map, melt the mold, just be who they are and there.
We need to do what feels like misbehaving.
Feel and do what feels like misbehaving. But it's holy misbehavior. It's actually honoring the sacredness of who you are and then daring to go on your own path, even if it's going to make other people uncomfortable. Because we're not here to be digestible. We're here to be in truth, to serve the truth. And that requires getting really close to ourselves and honoring our own journey and our own values, which is not something that you choose. It's something that is revealed to you when you create enough space to hear what you really value with your time, with your money, what's important to you.
Tell us about some of the benefits people have seen going to these events, like the before and after experience.
These events are great because we are playing the whole time. We're playing and we're doing deep work as we're doing it. And so when the nervous system is so regulated and you're feeling connected to yourself, to sound, to music, all of a sudden you have the capacity to listen to yourself better. You have the capacity to think creatively because inspiration, the greater patterns of creation move through a body when we can quiet the mind and come back into our hearts and open ourselves up to newness. And so a lot of what I see in these containers where we're having so much fun, it's people giving themselves permission to take up space, giving themselves permission to voice, creating a safe container for people to release energy without trying to identify or pinpoint it to where the trigger came from, but just to have a release that feels very, very good for the body. And from that place, coming to a greater level of a clearer channel, a clearer listening to oneself.
If people want to find out more, sign up, what's the best way to do that? Should they reach out to you or go to your website and sign up?
You can reach out to me. You can come to sandratrue.com. You can find me. I'm pretty active on Instagram at sandratrue_. And yeah, and all these experiences that I do in person are ways that people can connect with me to go deeper into my longer programs.
And if they can't make the event, they can work with you directly?
Yeah. I work with people one-on-one, and then I have a big group container, my group container that starts in September. It's the Conscious Creator Experience. And so we're doing 12 weeks, 3 months of going deep into the exploration of our expansion and stop trying to be unstuck, but instead focusing on being sovereign. That's the work that we do.
Sovereign. What a wonderful word. Thank you so much for joining today.
Thank you so much for having me.